So now we're going to talk about the subliminal thoughts. For this purpose, we're gonna go back to the drawings. We had this drawing with the field of consciousness, with all the elements of consciousness happening inside, and far away from this circle, far away from this circle, there is the field of subconsciousness, which actually I should not even draw a circle for that. I could just let it expand towards infinity. But for the purpose of simplicity and appealness, I'm drawing another circle. And around this circle there is another one, which is the field of the subliminal thoughts, as we just saw. It looks like in this drawing, the distance from the center indicates how unconscious or conscious is any element happening in the field of consciousness or subconsciousness happening inside you. What is it exactly? We need to be more precise to really understand and be able to apply that to dating. Otherwise, we will not be able to apply it. So let's just be concerned about the circle of consciousness, like this. Instead of seeing it like a fixed circle within which things appear and disappear, let's see it as a picture that is fixed with the elements inside at any point. Here is the circle of consciousness with two elements inside. This is fixed, it's never going to move. Those elements are here and they are not going to go anywhere else. It doesn't move, this is fixed. So how does things evolve in time? Here is how we're going to see it. We're going to see it like a movie. You know, in the movie you have one frame with the thing happening. Then you have another frame with the following of what is happening. Then another frame, with other thing happening. He's walking up. And it goes very fast, one after the other. And this is how a movie works. We have, like, for example, 60 pictures like this in 1 second, very fast. So in 1 second we would have like, let's put it this way, one, then the other, up, like this. It goes very fast. Let's say there is 60 pictures. In a movie, that's how it works. And we call this frame per second, FPS. If you have 10 FPS, then the movie is not very fluid. It's not very, it looks like something is lagging. It's not very smooth. If there is much more, for example 100, then this is very more interesting, very more fluid, FPS. And this is what gives the illusion of a movie. Actually, there is no movie, there is only pictures, one after the other. The same for the sound. How is the sound made in the computer, in the TV? This is, in the real life, there is a signal which is like this, the sound, it's a wave. But to put it on a computer, we have to slice it like this, up. The same as the FPS, we have to slice it. For example, it will be 1 second. And then take the value here of each slice and then draw something like this. And so this is how it happens in a computer. Up. In the computer, we don't have something like this. We have something like this. Because this is sliced. The same way that in reality, when we watch at something, it's an ongoing movie. But in a computer, when we watch at the movie on a screen, this is sliced one after the other one, like this with time. If you don't understand the way I draw it, it's supposed to go from the depth. I draw it this way, it's like in 3D. If I wanted to make it in 2D, I would draw it just this way, one after the other one. But I think it's easier to understand time if we put it in 3D like this. So it goes in the depth. But is it really how it is in the real world? Are we really hearing continuous sound and watching continuous movie, things moving? Is it really what's going on? Actually, when we go deep about meditation, we can find out that this is not the case. We can find out that the same thing happens. We have FPS in the mind as well. This is very mind-blowing to understand. We have this in the mind as well. FPS. When we watch something happening, let's say in the external world, we see someone walking. We see it through our eyes. Up. We see it through the eyes. We watch like this. So it comes into our eyes. Then it goes into our mind. And then we have the circle of consciousness. And in the consciousness, then we have a picture of the person walking. But do we really see him in real time evolving? Not really. This is the same as with the computer. There is one, then another one, then another one, then another one with time, like this. So we see the guy evolving up, one after one, up. And then this is one after the other one. This is the same. This is a pretty radical shift in the way we understand consciousness. If you want to go deeper about this framework, you can read a book which is called The Mind Illuminated from Culadasa. It goes very in depth about this, and you can learn how to meditate in a way that improves that. But let's stay simple here. We have this, like a movie, multiple frames, one after the other. This is FPS. This is the same, frame per second. Let's say there is like 10 per second. Okay, so 10 FPS per second. Good. We have that. How is it going to help us? Actually, this is going to be so key for anything we're going to do later. This is very important. So, when we have our circle of consciousness with around subconsciousness, and things are happening inside, there is the two elements happening, and then it changes, and then this one stays, let's say, and another one appears. For example, at first there was a guy, you were conscious. Let's take the other example. You were conscious of my eye, up, like this. This was an element. And then after I draw your attention to the computer. So at the next moment, now you're more conscious of the computer. Up. Okay, this is very bad drawing of a computer. So this one disappears and there's a new one. But it's way more accurate if we see it in another way. If we see it like this. First, there is the first element that you're conscious about. And then in another moment of consciousness which happens later in time. Then you're aware of the computer. Up. Oh my god, this is so bad. Like this. And this is one after one after one after one. This drawing is very bad, but it's okay. Up. T is evolving. Good. So this is how it goes. And what's really interesting is that actually, when we take the subconsciousness into account, because here I have not just drawn the circle of consciousness, I have drawn the circle of unconsciousness as well. When we take that into account, we can understand that actually there is an infinity of them in every moment. If we take, for example, 1 second, we will take the unit of 1 second, like this, up. In 1 second, there is an infinity of them, one after the other one. But the thing is that we can't really see everything that's going on, because the circle of consciousness, it appears and disappears in some of them. So if we just take into account the circle of consciousness from one moment to the other, there is not an infinity of them. In 1 second, there will be maybe, let's say, 2. There will be just 2 in 1 second. And in between, there will be an infinity of unconscious, of circle of unconsciousness, but we're not conscious of them. And here is the key to what's going on in the subconscious. It's that things, elements, happen at every single moment. There is an infinity of them. Things happen at every single moment into our mind. The only thing is that it might happen in moments when we are not conscious or not conscious enough. The circle of consciousness is not here. There is only the circle of unconsciousness, of unconsciousness, of subconsciousness. Better put this way. How is that going to help us? This is so key. This is going to be very key, actually. Because let's go back to happiness. When we drew our circle with the different elements inside, we saw that one can be bigger than the other. It can take more space. Actually, what does it mean? What does it really mean? What it means is that between, let's say, 1 second, in 1 second, in all of the moments of consciousness, like this, one after one, let's say you have 10 in 1 second, it means that this one will be way more present, like it will be here, here, and here. But this one will be, for example, only here, only in this one. And so this one is here 3 times in 1 second. And this one is here only 1 time per second. And this is what makes it bigger. This is it. Now we can see something happening. If we could get more moments of consciousness, if we can be conscious in more of those moments within 1 second, if we can expand it, there was 5 here, if we can get them to 10 in 1 second, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, good. If we can get to 10, then we can, in each of them, put the thing we want. For example, a blue thought, something good. For example, you're thinking about, I don't know, the next girl you're going to have for a date, and you're really happy. Let's take this example because we're talking about dating here. So it's a good example. We have here, in all of those, in the 10th, how is it felt? How is it experienced from your standpoint? It's experienced like this, like a very big thing, you see? And so how much is this thought, this element with positive judgment for you on it going to affect you? The amount of happiness it's going to generate is way bigger, way bigger. In the same way, let's say you are on a dark cave, you have to take something, you get afraid and you hear a sound. What happens in 1 second? Up. If we take for 1 second, let's say you have 10 moments of consciousness like this, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oof, one after the other one. This is very small, but okay. You get very afraid. Your mind is going to put the same thoughts in every of those moments because you really have to be aware of what's going on. And so how do you experience it at your level? You experience it as a very big negative judged thoughts, an element very big with a negative judgment on it. And you're going to have a very bad time, a lot of suffering, a lot of fear. That's what's going on. So now we see how it's going to help us, because actually we're going to try to amplify, to increase the amount of those circles that we have every second. We want to go from 3 to 1 million, if it's possible. That would be the best. Actually, the more of them we have at every moment, the more we are capable to squeeze the happiness out of the positively charged thoughts. And the more we have, the more we are free to not have the negative one as well. It's going to have an impact on both. Because actually what's going on is that the more of them you have, the more moments you have in, let's say, 1 second, when you can take decisions. And here it's very important, because if you have not ever worked on meditation, for example, you might never have experienced this. But in the normal state, we don't really have a lot of moments where we can really take clear decisions. For example, you go approach a woman, you're in front of her, you start talking with her. How many times can you really think about new decisions to take? How many times in, let's say, 10 seconds can you think about which new direction you want to take, which new things you could do, creating new paths in the interaction, and how much of the rest of those 10 seconds you're just being transported by the flow? Actually, there is maybe 1 in 10 seconds. And all of the rest we're just being drawn into our automatic behavior. When we start meditating, we can see this happening more and more. We can see the number of moments in 10 seconds where we can take new decisions, make new choice, be creative, evolves. There is more. The number of circles gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And what starts to happen when it does is that, remember, let's go for like 1 second. Once again, in 1 second, let's say you have only 3 moments while you're conscious. Up. Remember that actually, if we look at the subconscious one, up, there is not only 3. When we come to the subconscious one, there is way more than that. Actually, let's just fuck it up like this. There is way more. There is all the time. It's only those who are happening in a limited amount. And within the subconscious moments where we are not conscious, things are happening. Elements are appearing. And I think you start to see where I'm going. Red elements appear a lot in those moments. A lot. And the thing is, we have no control over them. We have no control because we're not conscious in those moments. We can't see them. We really can't see them. So the only thing that's happening for us in terms of our conscious perception is a red thing on the kinesthetic side of the inputs. This type of element is a kinesthetic type. So actually it's an emotion. We feel bad. We feel something bad. But we don't even really know what exactly is generating this because we can't see it. This is hidden. When it appears, we're not conscious. So we don't see it. So we just have the result of it. We have a sense of suffering. Here is how it goes. This is how it works actually. If within this 1 second we can get more moments of consciousness with the some consciousness around, then we can start to be conscious in the moments where they happen. We can see them. When I asked you to close your eyes and to wait for the next thought and to grab it when it's in the visual, kinesthetic or auditory form, I asked you to do this exercise previously. This is what it was about. It was about staying conscious in the moment where it happens. And so you can grab it as it is. And not just get an intuition of the thinking. Not just get an intuition of the deductions you've made during the unconscious moments. But to really see them when they happen. And when we see them, we see that they happen either in visual, either in auditory, either in kinesthetic. And now you're going to say, okay, Alex, all right, I'm conscious in the moments where they happen. But as you say, they happen in the subconsciousness. So even if I'm conscious when they happen, I should not see them. Yeah, right, you're absolutely right. And actually, I made a mistake in the way I explained on purpose. Because if I get to the more complex thing from the beginning, in terms of learning, it's not good. So I put it a bit naive so that it's easy to understand and to follow. And then I change it. And then you're like, oh, okay, so this is what's really going on. In reality, there is no subconsciousness. It's an illusion. If we stay on this modelization, I'm going to take a new page. Within 1 second, there is only consciousness. Only. This is the only thing that's going on. Only consciousness. There is no such thing as subconsciousness. The only thing is that the amount of consciousness, it varies, it changes. There is different kind of degrees of consciousness. If we had to make a gauge like this, like from 0% to 1%, it would vary from moment to moment. Here it up, up. Sometimes it's 20, sometimes it's 80, sometimes it's 10. It's different from moment to moment. And here is the key to being conscious or not. Here is the key to subconsciousness. The key is to always be at 100%, which is not possible. If you do, it means you are enlightened. It means you are Buddha. We can't really do that as normal human beings. We can't. But understanding this is going to be very helpful. This is going to be very helpful for the following of the course. Let's make a practical case. Close your eyes once again. You will very well understand what it's about by doing this. So really do it. Close your eyes. Well, take a deep breath and stay focused on the sensations of the air coming in and out of your nose. Stay conscious of the sensation of the air on your nostrils, inside your nostrils. As you breathe in, slowly, and as you breathe out, slowly. 1 time, 2 time, 3 time, at your own rhythm. How much can you feel it? Keep doing it. But how much do you feel it? If you start doing meditation every day, you will see that it changes with time. Sometimes you can feel it very well. Sometimes it's very difficult to feel it. Keep going. You're going to do something else now. Keep track of the air on your nostrils. And now I'm going to let you alone for 1 minute. You will keep doing it for 1 minute, but this time I will ask you to notice something during this 1 minute. Normally, if you are a normal human being, you will forget. You are going to forget at many points that you are supposed to follow your breath. You will forget. And you will start thinking about something else. I want you to observe that. At some point, you will just remember, oh fuck, I forgot. And then think about something. Think about the fact that you took the decision to think about something else. You really took this decision. You took it. But you just did it so fast that you couldn't see it. You were not conscious of it. You did it so fast at a moment where you didn't have enough consciousness. And so you just didn't even notice. You took the decision, but you didn't notice that you took it. Go for 1 minute like this and observe that. Observe the moment where you take the decision to do something else, but you don't even notice, and so you forget. Amazing. You can open your eyes now. How was it? Did you notice this forgetting? Did you notice how frustrating it is, this moment where you forget what you want? You forget? Fuck, I can just keep it in my mind. But it didn't just go out of your mind. You took the decision to do something else. You took this decision. You just did it so fast that consciously you didn't see it. You didn't see the decision. And so you just got the result of the decision. The same way that when you have negative judgment into moments when you are not conscious, you're not conscious of where it comes from. You're not conscious of the element upon which there was the negative judgment for you. But still, you get the result. You have the result consciously in the form of a negative emotion. You feel bad. And this is even more negative judgment. And ultimately, it just generates suffering. You get this result. You're not conscious of the reasoning behind, but you know the result. This you have. In the same way here, you're not conscious of the decision you took. It went too fast, but still you get the result. The result is that you start thinking about something else and you forget. And then you're like, but how did it happen? How did it happen? I just forgot. That's crazy. You chose to forget. You chose. You did it on purpose. You made this decision to do something else. It just happened so fast that you're not conscious. And you just have the result, which is thinking about something else. Do you see how sneaky this is? And do you see the implications it's going to have on everything, on how we're going to interact with people? Imagine for a minute. That's going to be one of the tools we're going to use among many. Imagine if when you talk with someone, you can choose to put positive thoughts in his moments of consciousness, and you can increase the number of moments of consciousness he has at every second. Imagine how much happiness you can generate in the person, and imagine how much this person is going to like you and is going to want to hang out with you. This is how powerful this is going to be. So we are going to study very deeply what are those positive thoughts, those positive elements. Where do they come from? For example, a girl who decides to have sex with you, for example. This is because this is linked to a positive element in her consciousness, which then generates happiness. If she chooses otherwise, it means that having sex with you is not going to generate happiness in her. This is going to generate either nothing, either a form of suffering. If we understand how this entire system works, where do the positive and negative things come from, the elements, and how to change these moments of consciousness so that we get more or less conscious and we have more control and we can help people to do the same, then we have a lot of power. Then we really can do like with the iPhone, with the MacBook. We can look inside and understand, okay, this is really what happens. This is what's going on in the interaction. So now one last thing before we end up. One last important thing. Those judges from 0% to 100%, how do we increase them? Actually, there is something very interesting. Those two things are directly linked. If you improve one, the other improve. They come together. They are linked. This is the same. They are the same thing. If you get more moments of consciousness, then you get more of this for every moment of consciousness. If we get more of this, then we get more moments of consciousness. And now we see that we can go even deeper. We see that this, the percent of how conscious we are, is just related to this. In fact, this is just a way to get the informations, us, at the conscious level of how much moment of consciousness we have. This is like this, look. On 1 second again. Let's say you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them. One after the other one in 1 second. What is going to happen for us at a conscious level? What is going to happen? Is the world going to go slower? Like if we have superpower? Actually not. The world doesn't go slower. The perception of time doesn't change. But still, we can have way more informations. We can have way more control. So how do we do that if it doesn't look like things go slower? This is because all of this gets combined into the feeling of one, like this, but with a really high percentage. This is how it feels. Hop. So you are going to do all of your calculus in all of those moments in a very fast way. And what's going to happen is that you're going to have the result that appears as one very conscious thing. And here we tie the entire model together. And around you have the amount of subconsciousness that you have around. And actually, this really is just about this. This is just about this. The more you are close to 100%, the less of subconsciousness you have, really. And actually, this is why we had to talk about subliminal thoughts. Because this is the subliminal world. When this goes up, you have access to the subliminal world. You can see all of the things that are going on. So instead of having something like this, you have something like this. This merges together. This becomes the same. You have access to things that happen here. And so now you can be free from your negative elements. It can help you really to be free from the suffering and to increase the happiness. Most of the negative elements that we have in the mind and that generate suffering, lots of them, they are kinesthetic. This is sensations, and we think they are bad, so there is the judgment, and so we feel it as something that makes us suffer, right? But for a big part, this is movies in the head. This is movies about what happened in the past or what might happen in the future. Let's say you have to walk up to a woman and you're afraid. You get stressed. You start to feel very bad. This is the movies of how it can go. This is those movies in the head of how it can go that generates this bad feeling, this suffering, and then you feel bad. That's what happens. And here is how important seeing the subliminal thoughts is important. And we're going to have another tool as well to deal with it. But this is going to be very important to deal with that. Because actually, those movies, they happen, but we don't see them. So we just have the result, which is a bad feeling. And this is not the only thing that it entails. It entails also other things that are going to be very important and that we are going to call fields of creativity in the following of the course. But here, if we stay focused on this generates this bad feeling. Really, it does. If you can see it and change it, then you go from feeling bad to feeling good. You go from a negative element to a positive element. And now to make it very applicable, actionable, and to really have the entire structure that we need to apply it to interaction with human being, we need one last thing, and after that we will have everything. It will be very clear and we can apply it. This one last thing is the fact that when we think about the future, when you have to project in the future, for example, you have to talk to a woman, you project into the future. You think that one scenario, one case, one thing can happen. And then you have to analyze what could go wrong or well in the situation. Let's go back to the drawing. So you analyze this. This can go bad. She can react this way. She can do this. This can be wrong. That's a lot of things. This also can be good. And this can be good as well. But there is more negative than positive. It's like one big possibility. But you also have to take into account other possibilities. So, for example, if I do this other way of approaching, she might react, I might get this, but people around, they might think this. Maybe someone is going to come, you're really afraid of that. And maybe she's going to slap me. Okay, right. That's another one that you have to take into account. Also, you can take into consideration, okay, and what if I just do nothing? I just keep walking. So I will feel free. But at the same time, I will feel very bad because I didn't go for what I want. And I will have bad feelings about it. And it will increase. And my self-esteem will get lower. Oh, fuck. So that's another possibility. So into one moment of consciousness like this, you have to take into account a lot of things. And do you see how many elements there is when we combine all the possibilities? And do you see how important it becomes to increase the quality of this consciousness so we can really deal with it in a way? Because if we have a gauge of consciousness which is at 20%, how much of all this reasoning are we getting at the conscious level? We're getting just a big something like this. We don't really know where it comes from and we just feel bad. Really, that's what's going on. If this is higher, like 80%, what do we get? We almost get all of it. Almost all. We get the same. This is the same. We get almost everything. And this is much easier to deal with it in that way. But we already see something happening. It's that the more different possibility we have to take into account, the more likely we are to get an amplification of the general thing we have. I mean, if you have a general tendency at that moment to have positive elements, the more you increase the different possibilities, the different choices of what you could do, the more you will get new circles of decisions, of new situations, which will be filled with more of what you are inclined to generate. And so this leads us to the principle of association of ideas. The mind generates things that are linked to what it just generated. If you think about a scenario of approaching this girl, the next thoughts, they are going to be linked to that. You're not going to think about a pizza right after. You're not really likely. The mind is going to generate more of the same things which are linked. And in the same way, this goes the same way for the color, for the blue or the red, for the positive or the negative. If you are in a state where you already have negative thoughts and then you think about something new, so you have a new circle up, what's going to happen? For example, you think about going for a pizza. If you were in, okay, let's go like this. I will draw it here on a new page. You already have a lot of good thoughts, so you feel good. Then next moment you think about having a pizza. This is the possibility of having a pizza. You're going to think, it's going to be very good. Maybe I can share with someone. It reminds me when I watched the TV show with my friends. There was this girl I used to date and we ate pizza together. It was good. You have positively charged thoughts. However, if you were having negative one, like this, then you think about the pizza. That's one of the things you think about. You're not going to think the same because the mind is going to generate things that are related to what it generated before. There is a momentum that creates. That's the principle of momentum. And we want to create a positive momentum. Then what's going on is that you're going to think, but I eat too much of pizza. I have to go to the gym. I'm fat. I have no success with girl because I have a shitty lifestyle. And it's not so good, actually. I would prefer to have more money to go to healthy restaurants. And then you have a lot of negative things. And here we see something interesting happening, is that when we think about something, this is the same here. This is the same in those two cases. It's a pizza. I hope it's going to be better than the MacBook. Yeah, it's a pizza. But here it generates a lot of suffering, and here it generates a lot of happiness from the same thing. And here we see that actually it's not the things itself that generates happiness or suffering. It's just the links that come with it, the positive or negative things that are born from it. And so if you are in a situation like this, okay, I'm just going to do it here. Then you have a decision to make. For example, to go to a restaurant. Okay, you have a decision to make to approach a woman. So you have this possibility, it creates a lot of negative thoughts. Another possibility, a lot of negative thoughts. Another possibility, the same. So we see that the more we have different possibilities, the more it will just amplify what's already there. Because it will manifest in the same way. No matter what you think, it will reproduce. It will produce more of the same. So the more you have choice, the more it's going to generate the same. But here, in the same way, if you are in a positive state of mind, any scenario you can think about, it's only going to generate positive. You really feel free at that moment. And maybe there is going to be a little bit of negative here and here. But once again, remember how the mind works. It produces more of the same thing. The pizza is not good or bad in itself. Just being linked to positive or negative. If you have a lot of positive already, and you have a negative that appears, the links that are going to come after are going to be positive. So it's going to be transformed into positive. Here, everything negative you can put in your mind is going to be changed instantly in positive. You're going to see it in a new way. I have to go to the gym. But gym is so good, it feels good, I feel healthy, I can meet people, and then it turns into something good. Here, there is this girl I have to see tomorrow, I really like her. But maybe it will go wrong, maybe I will lose her, maybe I will be stupid, and it becomes negative, no matter what it is. Do you see how stupid it is? Do you see how it works? So we want to have that habit of generate positive momentum so that everything that comes along the way is going to be positive. For example, if you are in a nightclub, you want to approach women, and you are in that state of mind where you only have positive, then you approach a group of women and they laugh at you, they reject you. How are you going to interpret it? How are the links going to be in your mind? oh yeah, this is funny, I looked stupid. Yeah, we're laughing. Okay, great. I made them have a good time. But you're going to notice good thing as well. Oh, by the way, she has a good smile. And by the way, she looks funny. And by the way, yeah, the music is very good. And you still just feel good. And so you have good thoughts that appear. And so what you are going to answer will be born from this. This is what we are going to call a field of creativity, and a positive one. So anything you're going to do is going to be perceived as coming from a positive field of creativity, and is going to have a very powerful impact. We're going to discuss that in the next sections of the course. But here I'm just showing you where it's going, what we're going to be able to do with that. And yeah, actually when you have the negative things, you don't want to be creative. You're not pushed to be creative. You're pushed to be less creative, because as we saw, the more options you have, the more negative it generates. So you want to have less and less and less. When you are in the positive, you want to have more and more and more, because the more you have, the more positive you have. So you get more creative when you're in the positive. We're going to use all of that. For example, another use of all of this. You approach a woman. She doesn't know if she wants to talk with you or not. She's feeling a bit awkward. So she's in this situation. She's here. And then she has decision to take. Do I talk with him? Or do I go? Or do I leave? There is two possibilities. Hop. What's going to happen? There is two possibilities. And in each of them, it's going to be negative thoughts, which generates suffering. Now, what happens if you cut the choice? For example, let's say you give her the opportunity to tell you that she wants to go. For example, she has the opportunity. For example, you make a comment about it. So now she doesn't feel like, do I do it or not? She doesn't know. She just has the opportunity. It cuts the choice. So this disappears. So there is less negative. And what's important really, it's the variation. What's important is not that much that you are at minus 10 or at minus 100 or at plus 200. What matters is the evolution. If you make her go from minus 100 to minus 10, she will actually feel some happiness. There will be some happiness in it. There will be some positive. If you go from plus 200 positive to plus 1500, this is better than this. But this feels better than this. The evolutions feels better. So that's one more use that we're going to do to understand. When you approach a woman, she doesn't know which decision to take. Do you see how important this is going to be? This is happening very fast. We are going to study all of that in very deep detail, so you understand very precisely what's going on in any situation of the interactions. From this, we're going to create tools together to use, how to make it powerful, how to get what we want, how to get the girl in this. When it comes to thinking about going home with you, for example, if when she thinks about going home with you, all she sees is this. For example, okay, I'm going to have a very good sexual arousal, it's going to be a very good moment, whatever, we're going to talk about all of this later. She says yes. If she thinks about all of these negative things, she says no. This is as simple as this. Okay, this is what we're going to work on for the following of the course. So this was the first part. It was an overview about this happiness and suffering thing. We don't go very deep here. We don't detail it so much. I could make it even more complex, even more detailed. I could make an entire course of like 30 hours just about this. Right now you see it's a bit naive. It's a bit simple. It's not, okay, it can look complex, but actually it's not as much as it should be if we want to make a course about it. If the goal is happiness, it's not gonna be enough. We have to go more complex. But here, this is enough for dating. This will be enough. We have everything. We have everything we need for the techniques and the strategy and the mindset we are going to apply on the following of the course. So this is enough for this first. So this is enough for the first part of this course. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you on the next part. But before that, you have a mission for tonight, evening, before sleep, before the bed, and tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, wake up 20 minutes earlier than usual. And tonight, before bed, take 20 minutes before going to bed. And during these 20 minutes, close your eyes and do what we've done for 1 minute, but this time for 20 minutes. Focus on your breath and just observe how your mind is going to forget. Just observe that. And try to see the subliminal thoughts. Get to the point at the end of the 20 minutes where you start to see the subliminal thoughts in forms of movies, in forms of melody, of voice, of words, of feelings. Get to that point, and then it will be enough for the rest of the course. See you on the next part.